from making the unbeatable Joe Joyce lose for the first time with a shocking victory, to calling out the Gypsy King for a fight in China as he eyes the heavyweight title. Here's why boxing heavyweight fighter Zhilei Zhang says Tyson Fury is gonna go down hard. It's definitely a possibility, considering how he left his opponent in the ring. The crushing defeat had the former WBO champion Joe Joyce dealing with a lot of swelling in his right eye. Now, we were all expecting the Londoner to defend his position as WBO interim champion. That man has an unbeaten record for 15 fights, but the 39-year-old's left hand was enough to leave Joyce on unsteady legs right after the opening round. It got so severe that the ringside doctor had to step in before the 6th round to examine his damaged eye. Not only that, but he was called in again in the last round, forcing the referee, Howard Foster, to end the fight. Needless to say, Joyce was pretty disappointed with his performance. No one was expecting the 2016 Olympic silver medalist to go down like that. He even had to apologize to his fans and supporters right after the fight. Having said that, the two fighters, for the most part, are sort of mirror images of each other. With that kind of combination in the ring, you can almost guarantee an entertaining battle. But this one was pretty one-sided. If anything, Zhang landed his deadly left hand on his rival repeatedly, with every single punch directly to the head. So it makes sense that Joyce wasn't left with a lot to fight with after the first few rounds. Meanwhile, China's Zhang was enjoying his victory as he claimed the WBO interim heavyweight title. This fight is the biggest win of Zhang's career.
Howard Foster looks at Joe Joyce, he stopped it.
He took his record to 25-1-1 with his 20th knockout. The fighter landed 78 out of the 140 power shots. No wonder Joyce couldn't get into a rhythm. Sure, he was pretty active mostly, and he even wound up throwing 253 power shots and landing about 60. But his defense and lack of head movement were enough for Zhang to overpower him. Now let's not forget that he entered as the mandatory for the WBO title. He could have just sat around and waited, but instead, he took the fight with Zhang. Was that commendable? Sure, he definitely deserves credit for that. But was it worth it? It literally cost him his belt and mandatory position while breaking his streak. Meanwhile, Zhang made a comeback after his first career loss to Filip Hrgovic in August 2022.
And the winner of the IBF Heavyweight World Title Eliminator, Filip El Animal Hrgovic.
So he wasn't taking this lightly either. While he snapped his rival's head back with a bunch of big shots, he wrapped up the fight with some two-punch combinations, leaving Joyce with a swollen eye. Speaking of, this made the rematch clause a little trickier than you'd think. Joyce is going to hold off until his eye surgery is all healed up. Right now, he just wants some time off to check out where he went wrong before he risks another defeat. Having said that, he needs to get back in action ASAP if he wants to revive his world title charge, because right now, there might be a couple of big fights on the table for the former Olympian, including a domestic clash with Dillian White. Meanwhile, Zhang's on the hunt for his next opponent, and he's got his options narrowed down to one of the greatest fighters in the heavyweight division, Tyson Fury.
From Dillian White.
After his 6th-round knockout victory over Joyce, he wants the Gypsy King for his next title shot. His co-manager, Terry Lane, says Zhang's the best heavyweight in the world. Right now, Zhang's looking at becoming the next world champion. The love he's gotten from China, along with millions and millions of views, has exceeded his expectations. People were up at 5 a.m. to pay $1 just to watch him fight. Although, if he wants the world titles, he's got to remember he's about to turn 40. So he needs to make the most of the opportunities he's got. That's exactly why he and Terry have been sitting down with Fury's promoters to see what they can do. Zhang has started the trash talk already. The Chinese boxer said Fury has a weak chin and he's gonna go down hard. Since a rematch with Joyce is out of the picture, he's pretty sure he's ready to knock out Fury first. Not to mention the confidence boost after that stunning victory. But the question is, will Fury be able to survive a dangerous puncher like Zhang? Or is that underestimating his size and skill? Let me tell you, there's a huge possibility possibility that this will happen. The Gypsy Kings already got Andy Ruiz Jr. and Zhang on the top of his list for his next fight in July, although we still gotta wait and see if Fury's able to negotiate with any of these fighters. If you take a look at the past couple of potential fights with Fury, negotiations haven't really gone well. Take the heavyweight championship fight with Alexander Usyk, for example. Negotiations went on and on, from a 50-50 purse split all the way down to 70-30 that almost had the deal closed. That was right until Fury wanted the rematch clause out of the contract. Not to mention the fight was going to be huge. It was going to unify the WBO, WBA, and IBF champion belts on April 29, 2023. But the two teams simply couldn't work out a deal without one dispute or another. And even though an angry Fury has all the things to say to Usyk, even calling him a coward, you've got to admit that the Gypsy King is also known to set quite unpredictable demands himself. Something similar happened when he was negotiating a fight against Anthony Joshua in December 2022. That never worked out either, and fans assume it was because of Fury's demands. Fast forward to now, and even though Fury's interested in a fight with Zhang, he hasn't been the best with negotiations lately. Plus, they've got something to fight over. Zhang wants the fight in China, while Fury's looking at London. You know this isn't a small issue because the British boxer is pretty particular about venues. He literally flipped when they changed the venue from Saudi Arabia back to London, mostly because of the drastic drop in prize money. Not only that, but he's also kept forward a condition for a quadrilogy fight with Deontay Wilder. He's made it pretty clear that if the fight isn't in London, he doesn't want it. So it's going to be a big issue when it comes to Zhang too. While the Gypsy King is eyeing a fight at Wembley Stadium, the Chinese boxer is looking at the 80,000-seat Beijing Bird's Nest, or even the MGM Casino in Macau. I'm pretty sure you'd agree with me if I said that Fury's probably not going to bend on this one. If it was the Middle East, sure, maybe. But anywhere else? I don't think so. With that said, if Zhang's ready to switch the venue according to Fury, that might work things out after all, until the Gypsy King finds something else to point out. After all, the 39-year-old has only one thing to think about. He's here to fight for the world title, and nothing else. Right now, after claiming the WBO interim heavyweight title, he's also directly in line for a mandatory crack at the WBO, IBF, IBO, WBA world champion, Alexander Usyk. Although Zhang's got to stay active for now because the Ukrainian's next mandatory obligation is to the WBA. He's already negotiating a fight with regular champion Daniel Dubois. Plus, if he manages to come out of it with a victory, he's going to go on to fight the IBF's mandatory challenger. The fight against Fury would have been a career-changing move for the two of them, but since that didn't work out, they're both looking out for other opponents. Even Joshua is ready for a trilogy fight after two back-to-back defeats. So even though Zhang's ready to fight Usyk, the Ukrainian also has a couple of fighters on his list. Having said that, until a new opponent comes up, it seems like the Chinese boxer is going to focus on either a career-defining fight against Fury or wait for a rematch with Joyce once his eyes all healed up. So, from calling out the Gypsy King for a fight in China as he eyes the heavyweight title, to making the unbeatable Joe Joyce lose for the first time with a shocking victory. That was why boxing heavyweight fighter Zhilei Zhang said Tyson Fury is gonna go down hard.